Hello guys, today it's going to be a different video than usual. I am going to be making, what should we call it? I'm going to be making graphics, and I'm going to be showing you how I make my graphics and stuff. And all that good stuff, because you know, a couple of you probably wonder how I make my graphics and stuff, and some of you are asking for me to teach you. So I thought I'd do a quick little video showing you on how I make my graphics. There will be parts where I speed it up because it's pretty stuff that you don't need to see, you know. And this is kind of not like really a beginner's video. This is more for like between beginner and advanced, kind of like a medium, I guess, or something. So if you're somewhat decent at graphics and you want to get better, this is a video for you. So I'm gonna go over how I make my graphics. So first of all, we have to go into Cinema 4D and get our Lightroom and our rig, which I use Mondaze version 3 and customizable Minecraft rig. So those are both paid, which if you pay the person, they help you out a lot. It's worth paying for it. So I paid for both of those, and that's all you pretty much need. And if you need extra items, I actually use a 3D items pack that comes with items and blocks. And sometimes I have to download a mob rig if I'm going to be adding a mob in. And the text is more graph and more text, and I'll show you that later. But first, we're going to begin with the render. What you have to, I have a lot of settings here, a lot of all this stuff. If you know the custom Minecraft rig, you can go and look at the video and see what it has. It's actually really cool. I got this skin here off of Skins, Nova Skins. It's just a random skin. We're making a banner, and I'm just gonna use some random name. I'm gonna use Lucas. I don't know, just Lucas. That used to be an old friend of mine. I'm just gonna be using it. And as you can see, I erased the eyes on the skin because this rig comes with customizable eyes. I'm gonna leave them blue, like that. And what we're gonna want to do is, before we start moving around the player, is extruding. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start extruding, and I'm going to speed that up so you see how I do it. Alright guys, so I'm done extruding. It's really simple. I just make it to where the thing is at 91 when you saw it there, and I just extrude the head. I don't want to do it too much. I just do it just right. I extrude the hair first, and then I make this little thing right here. Usually if it's the hair, I do that, and that's pretty much all that I do for extruding. I don't do anything on the body, I just do the hair. And what I just noticed is that I don't like these eyebrows on here. You see these eyebrows? I never use them, and they kind of get in the way. So what I like to do is I like to disable them. With the eyebrows here, I disable them. Also this, I'm going to put the manual. You'll see later what that is. This thing right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start moving him around into a position. Position, like people are wondering, like, how do you do the positions? What's the best positions, and how do you do it? Just over time, I learned how I learned how like a player moves. When you look at I like looking at people's renders. That's what I learned from, especially shadows. You just look at their renders and you learn how the player moves. And I have this own method that I use. It's hard to explain. You just find the right movement for the player and you just move them around and find a good position. So now. Alright guys, now we are going to be making the text. So to do that, in your Cinema 4D, you need to go to Graph and Mode Text, and realize how I'm still using this Lightroom. This Lightroom is also very good for text. And I recommend that you guys get your own font that you like, because using the fonts that it already comes with is bad. Like, just trust me, it's unprofessional. Don't use them. try finding a font online that's maybe cartoonish or simple, or if you like futuristic, something like that, find a font that's not original. You need to find a good font. So I like using Plump. So as I remember, our name is gonna be Lucas. I like putting this in the middle. And let's see, if we go to our fonts here, I have a couple custom ones if you haven't noticed. But I'm going to be using Plump right here. I'll leave the link, download to the font in the description. It's the it is the font that I use most of the time. So we're just going to turn this around, and we're going to change the depth to like 50. 50 to 60 is good. And what I like to do is sometimes I like to set the text as a Minecraft block. So I'm going to go to my block thing I have right here and open it up. And I can go into select a block that I would like to use. Okay, so there we go. So blocks is what we want. And I could choose a block. So it has most of the main blocks. So I'm going to use dark oak because why not? And it's going to spawn in a block. And I like to delete it, and then what I'll do is I'll get this texture down here and put it on, but I don't want the full thing like that. So what I do is I right click on mode text and make it editable, or you can just click C, and then we just do every other one, and I'll probably just do red because I like red, dark red, and I like to do right click on this and object soft shadow, and that usually does really good. And then we do that. And if we do this, go like this over here, and you actually find the layers like this and select them all, and you do C1, it gives a little gray whitish background. And now what we're going to do is we're just to make it look more better, we're going to just turn them, just move them around a little bit, give them a random position in the thing here. And what you're going to notice, some of them get too close to each other. So you can get the move tool and you can move them around, maybe move them up a little bit, move them down, you know, just to give it more meaning and depth. And then find a position that you like most, like to look at, and then we're going to render it. Something like that and like that. We'll move this one like this. So there we have Lucas. Alright, so now we are in Photoshop. I have to let it load a little bit. And of course, you're going to need something to work on. So we're going to have to go to File, New, and the size for a banner for YouTube is 560 by 1440. And that's in pixels. And I like to make the background transparent. And then I click OK. And then there's something else of this image that I use that, whatchamacallit, it allows me to figure out where to put my stuff and everything. So like this, you're gonna insert, I'll leave this image down below, and so you can use it. I like to get a rectangle box there, all black, and put it over like this. Alright. I don't think that's... There's still some gray right here, so move it up a little bit. There. And then once I'm done with that, I just delete the bottom layer that the image I used. Wait. This box is still off center. This up one. There we go. And then I delete the bottom one. Move this up like one. There. And there we go. Now we need to get, I like to put some micro pictures in the background, you know, why not? And I have a screenshot pack from Atmo Works, so I go into here. Let's just do some landscape ones during the day. Let's see, I'll choose this one. And put it at the bottom like that, and I like to give it a little rotation, size it right. I like to do 2 images, so I'll do this one. And then we're going to rotate this one and make it a little bit smaller. And there we go. So now what I like to add make the images look really good. So I do a curves, and I usually do an S. You'll see what happens when you do curves with an S. It looks really good. Sometimes you want it to be a little darker, a little lighter, you know. And you get that really cool looking image. And then the brightness, the contrast really helps too. Usually like to make it darker with some contrast on it. And then blur it a little bit so the people aren't focusing on the background when they're looking at the banner. And now I do Control U on the image and give it a little bit of a saturation. And you do the same thing on the other image. Like so. It just makes everything look 10 times better. I don't know. I'm just saying that. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, we're all good. Control U, give it that saturation. And boom, that's pretty much it for the background. Now I gotta add I gotta open up my packs. Alright, so now we're gonna go back and we're gonna add the images in because we're all ready. We have, where are they at? Lucas, his actual skin render. I don't know who Lucas is, but he sounds like a pretty cool dude. And he looks like a pretty cool dude. Alright, so we put it at the very top here of the images. So we have him here. Get him to the right size so it looks really good and with here. So most of the time, I don't like to put the full render in. Like the legs are kind of like at the bottom, like he's... It just... Trying to put the actual full skin render in, it just kind of looks bad. So I kind of like to hide it under the black box a little bit. And then curve it a little bit, doing it like that is really good. And then we get the text. Usually have 2 renders, but just for the purpose of the video, I'm doing just one. And we'll do it like that. Alright, so we're going to work on the skin render first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to blending options here. And we're going to do a gradient overlay. And I'm sorry guys, my nose is getting stuffed up for some reason. And you just want to mess with what looks best with it, 90 or negative 90. I want to do 90 because I want more light towards the top. Just depends on what you want. So you find what looks best. I'm going to do 38. And then based on your color that you like, I like red. So I like to add a little red overlay maybe to them, not like an overlay. It's like that. So you want to do overlay. Same with gradient. And my nose is being fucked up. And then you want to put a satin on it, but you want to do it as an overlay too. Everything is overlay, and I want to do it like a white so we can give it a little glow. Okay, and then inner glow. Inner glow makes it everything better. Like, honestly, look at that. It looks so much better. And sometimes I like to add a drop shadow. So that's it for this. Whoops, I canceled it because I'm an idiot. And let's just redo all that over again. Why not? Overlay. Glow. And a drop shadow. Now what we're going to do next is we are actually going to go to filter and liquify. We're going to make some awesome liquifying option. I like to make the head a little bit, like not too much, just slightly curved up, you know. And I like to go a little bit smaller, not too small, like 50 or something. And I'll go on his the arms here, make it curve a little bit. Right, and then give up a little bit, some curves on his arms. Not too much. Alright, then maybe like a some on his eye here. Some on his hair. And then click OK, and that looks a little bit better. Now we're gonna duplicate the layer. We're gonna go to filter and filter gallery. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stylize and glowing edges. I'll have it at, let's turn that down a bit. So right about there, maybe like there, and then like that. So right about there is that, and we're gonna click OK. And you get this weird glowing effect. Hey, that looks cool, but that's not what we want. So we go to blending options and we go to overlay. I'm trying to make this video as short as possible, guys, but if it's long, it's long. So you want to trim the opacity down a little bit, just about 50. And then you're going to get your eraser tool. Right click it, make sure it's okay. And you're just gonna start erasing parts that you don't like. So like right about here. Maybe keep it on like the hair part over here. Maybe just right about here. Alright, so leave it like that. Just do what you think looks good. Erase that part, maybe. Erase that and that. And that. A little bit of that. Now then that looks pretty damn good. And now we're gonna do Control on both of these and then Control E so they combine. And we're gonna duplicate that one more time. Filter gallery, and then you're gonna go to, I believe, artistic and do plastic wrap, and just these settings right here. Click OK, and then once again we're gonna do the overlay because that looks ugly. Boop, and erase the parts that you don't want. Pretty much, that makes it look good. Like that. Alright, and there we go. We're gonna go control these two, Control E. Well, that's not doing what I wanted. I think we need to do this. Control E. There we go. There you go, guys. And if you want to, you can put on another gradient overlay. But I think that is... don't want the pattern. That is too much. We're gonna turn it down a bit. We don't know. Color overlay. Yeah, just a little bit. Some satin. Turn that down. You can make it black actually. So you make it a little bit dark. And once again, we can also add some curves to this because that makes it 10 times better. And as you can tell, this skin render is looking pretty cool. Add some curves to it. And then some adjustments, brightness as contrast. Brighten it up a little with some contrast. No, don't do that. It looks fine as it is. Actually, control it. We don't need the curves, but it looks pretty good. And now we are going to do the text, blending options, and then drop shadow on it. We want to do gradient overlay. Like, look at that. Adding a gradient overlay makes the text look pretty cool. Color overlay, you can barely tell. Satin, darken it a little bit. Inner glow really does do a lot with the text. You know. Maybe something like that. And then you're gonna click OK, and we're gonna duplicate the layer. This is the stuff I like doing. If I go to filter gallery, and then we can do the stylize and glowing edges, but we're gonna make the edge width a little more, edge brightness a little more, and smooth this down all the way. And then click OK, and you got this weird looking text now that looks kind of cool. And we're just gonna add a overlay to it. To fill opacity down and some of the that. And we're gonna take all this effects off because we don't need it. But we will need the inner glow for that. And then if we go to filter, we can do some more effects. So what I like doing is I like going through these and finding just random ones and making it look cool. So most of the time I like doing spray stroke, just mess around with the settings. Okay. And you know, that was looking pretty cool. What we should do now is Control E these two and do some curves, and I'm just gonna leave the text kind of like that. Darker. And image adjustments, brightness / contrast. Like so. And there you guys go. That looks pretty cool. There's some other things we should probably do. We could add some effects from shadows pack in. So like maybe behind the text we can do, this one. I really like using this one. We could put some effects behind the text. Just to give it more oomph. Or oof. Kind of like put it like right behind the text following it, you know. Like so, but I'll put it behind the player too, like that. And we'll do blending options and make it like a red color. So we do color overlay, and we do hue, and fill up all the way, and it's like red now, and it's all looking really cool. But I want to turn down the opacity a little bit, you know, just to do so. And some satin on it. And you know, that looks pretty good. And now we are missing some color corrections. You can't forget the color corrections. Color corrections make everything so much better. So what I'm gonna do is just I'll have shadows pack that has color corrections. If you want to make your own, make your own. I just like to go through random ones. So one like this looks really cool. We don't have to put it on top of the. Just put it for the back. That could be just for the background. And then one for like the actual stuff we can use from here, because this one has some couple ones. So we'll do warm. That looks really cool. And put it on top of the text and stuff. And turn on the opacity a little bit. And then what we're gonna do next is this little thing right here. We're gonna kind of try hiding that somehow. So if we go to the images, I'm gonna do this one. Do filter, blur, and motion. We just find a way to kind of mix it too. So I'm gonna put a little motion blur on that. That looks kind of cool. I'll put a filter, blur, motion. Put some motion blur on that too. And I believe you can combine these two, Control E. And then what I don't usually do blur on the background, but you can see it looks really cool. So just experiment most of the time. And if we get the blur tool, make it really big, and just do the power to 50%. It's way too big. Just kind of like blur the two together like this. And you kind of blur the sides a little bit. And then with these rectangles here, you can put a drop shadow on them so that they bring in the more shadow there. Alright. And drop shadow. Like so. And now you can flatten the image. And what we're gonna do is do some saturation on it. So like, see, if you want it really colored, you can turn it up. If you want it really like lightened a little bit, like losing some of its color, then you can do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lose some, because when I brighten up on this one, it looks pretty bad. So when I lose the color just a little bit, it looks really good. And if you want to make it a little darker, so, and there you go. If you want to do some curves on it, some more, you can. I don't think, yeah, that looks good. And image adjustments, brightness / contrast, brightness, contrast. And there you go, guys. But yeah, guys, there you go. That is how I pretty much make my banners and stuff. Hopefully you can use these techniques and you can use them for your own good. And guys, if you really did like this video, make sure to drop a like, share it to your friends if they want to learn, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, peeps. Bye bye.